No, Heather, the
Andrew?
whole thing with Wordle for me is I overthink the words.
Andrew, can you hear us?
I'm just having a ball.
Nope.
Making fun of everyone.
I do not share my scores except for yesterday because I beat my husband.
Nope. Andrew? Nope.
Can you see us?
Nope.
Andrew, can you see or hear us? You can't tell us either thing.
Can you hear us, Andrew?
Hey, is there am I gonna be able to see the meeting?
Hello, go ahead and have a seat. We'll be with you guys soon.
I do love this program.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for having us. Anytime.
Andrew, can you hear us? Oh.
Now we can't see him.
All right, we'll give it.
Oh. Can you hear me now? You hear me?
You guys hear?
No.
No.
We don't see him either.
You want me to start talking and see if they can hear me?
There he is.
Can you hear me?
Andrew, can you hear us?
Oh, we can hear you now, I think.
A little
Let me mute you. Okay,
Can you sing a song?
someone
People
talk there.
at home can hear us saying, Andrew, can you hear us?
Yeah.
I can hear you. I can't see you though. Correct.
Ingrid's texting. Yeah, they're like, we
not gonna be able
can
to
hear
see
you
us.
saying, Andrew, can you hear us?
Can you hear us now?
I can hear you. Yes.
Can you give us a sound test? Can you speak?
Hello. Hello. Test. 1, 2, 3.
I mean, we might need to move to the laptop at this point, just so we can. Why is our text so bad? Oh, I shouldn't say that.
One more time.
Okay, I can hear you.
He can hear us. Try again, Andrew.
Hello. Test 1, 2, 3.
A little quiet. One more time.
Test 1, 2, 3. Hello.
Keep going. Hang up.
Test 1, 2, 3. All right. Are you guys able to hear me?
What you making for dinner?
People can hear a distorted Andrew. And I don't think the people at home want it on. They can hear Andrew loud and clear now. The home audience.
It's hard to believe that we did 2 years of remote. We still can't get this. We're a fairly well-off community. Over
I think we're gonna have to, because we can't.
yeah.
Yeah, can put them
Maybe
right
in
here.
front of a mic.
Yeah, you can put them in front. Well, we'll find out.
Yeah, because he can still hear us, I think. Oh. Poor Andrew. I'm sorry, Andrew.
Let's see.
Can you able to hear me?
do that again.
What is happening?
I don't want to rejoin. It seems like a very dangerous thing to do. Oh, wait. I'll put on mute.
Oh, there he is. Oh, no.
Okay. Brace your ears. Oh, you can hear me. Okay, wait.
Go. What does that mean? Oh, that's Susan.
But he should be. He's there. Okay.
Ask him to talk.
Are you, can you hear me?
Yes,
Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
we can.
Awesome.
Yay. Okay.
Let me pin it.
Oh boy, that's that's a big me in the background.
You're the wizard, Andrew.
All right, there's a way to pin this.
Do you want to just put him right here and he can?
I can't hear anything if anyone's talking.
Yeah, we're not talking yet.
We're not.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he can only hear us. So now you unmute it.
Yeah.
Hi, Ann.
Hi, how are you?
So put it
That is-
right here.
yeah.
Open the microphone.
Is that what it is?
Yeah. All right.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
All right.
Ooh, that's not gonna work.
Tim. Shut mute your microphone.
Is that better, Andrew?
It is 5:17, and I want to call to order this regular business meeting of the Newmarket School Board. I apologize, we had some serious technical difficulties prior to the meeting, but we will begin, as we do all others, with the Pledge of Allegiance. Lila, will you lead us in that? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, with liberty and justice for all. We will move into public comment, and I will open the floor for public comment. And I will close public comment, and we'll move on to the agenda. We have some visitors here tonight, and as we're starting a little late, I'm wondering if the board would approve having the presentation of students first before we get to our visitors, so we don't have to stay here all night. Okay. People from SST Agricultural Program.
I know you were there. If you guys could come to the mic, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah. Hi everyone, my name's Lorelai Kais. I'm a senior here at Newmarket, and I'm also the chapter president at the Seacoast School of Technology for the FFA.
My name is Mia Feidick. I am also a senior at Newmarket Junior Senior High School, and I'm attending as a first-year student. Here we have two binders of photos. They show many of the different things we do in class. They're both different, so you can get different things.
And I just want to thank you all for having us here tonight and taking the time to listen to us about our other half of the day at SST.
So fortunately, in February of 2020, we were able to tour SST right before the pandemic. So we could pick 2 classes to tour, and including animal and plant science. I actually didn't tour animal and plant science as I was kind of interested in something different. But later I realized that I really wanted to work with animals, and I found out that I could take the class my senior year of high school, which I'm doing now. I didn't go last year because I didn't have like an interest in working with animals, even though I have been working with them for most of my life. So I did find out that I could take it my senior year, and I'm so happy that I did. I only regret not doing it last year. I've had so much fun, and I've just, learned a lot. And I'm so glad that I joined this class, even senior year.
So when you first walk into our classroom, you're welcomed by what looks like to be a regular classroom, along with our 2 dogs, Winston and Truman. But I can promise you that there's so much going on in this class. We take notes for the first half of class, then apply what we learn to the many different areas within our class, including the aquarium room, vet tech station, small animal room, greenhouse, and the huge shop and aquaculture area that we have.
So right now, technically, I'm in the first year, which all pretty much juniors take. You could, obviously, as a senior, take first year. Lorelai actually did it last year, so she's completed her junior year. But so far this year, we go over general safety when it comes to fire and just overall like electricity and just general safety. We go over animal behavior so we can handle the small animals and other animals in our classroom. We go over dairy science, livestock. We learn about the National FFA. We also do things like business etiquette and learning how to run a meeting, just like we are here today. We also learn how to run aquariums, and we also learn about aquaculture as well. So we also help the culinary class by raising tilapia. So it's pretty cool to learn.
Wow.
Yeah, it's pretty cool to have like a connection between the classes. My favorite so far is dairy science. We have learned a lot about dairy science, and that was just my favorite. I've also been able to use it in my current job, which I'll go over in a little bit. Actually, yeah. So my first, I think, week or 2 in the class, I was offered a job description at a dairy farm, which is Stewart Farm in Stroud, New Hampshire. So they raise cows for dairy, and my job position is a calf feeder. So what I do is I help feed the calves, I do bedding, and I just do some overall care for the calves. And with the knowledge that I learned in the dairy science unit that we do, I've been able to apply that to my job, and it's like I've gotten a couple raises because of that, because I can apply that and I'm more advanced. It's awesome.
In my CTSO, the National FFA, like I said, I'm currently the chapter president, meaning I run meetings, I help coordinate activities and events, and I represent the chapter in needed functions. We also do a lot of different events within the FFA, and including one of my favorites, Wreaths Across America, where I got to give a speech honoring the veterans. And we're all really excited about this really big event that's coming up called State Convention. We haven't been able to do it for the past 2 years due to COVID, so it's definitely a big deal that we're going this year. And I'm really excited to get the chance to go and learn new things and meet new people. So.
Yeah, and my favorite activity that we've done so far is going to the Deerfield Fair. We could compete in things like you could judge dairy or you could show dairy, which Lorelai and I actually did. I was actually able to win first place. It was really fun, and it was a really cool experience. And you could also compete in forestry, which a lot of our people did as well. I think we won second place too. So we're very good at what we do, and we're very passionate, and we can go have fun with it as well.
My senior year, we are covering a whole bunch of different topics, such as safety, because safety is very important. So not only do we study it the junior year, we also study it senior year, because in order to be safe around animals, you have to actually know what you're doing and know how to be safe. We also studied equine science, and we were very lucky to have been able to go to a barn called Starlit Hollow and work with their horses. We learned how to clean out stalls. We learned about equine behavior and learned how to wrap their legs and tails, along with just overall physical examinations of the animals. We're also going to be learning about greenhouse science and sustainable agriculture, including hydroponics, aquaponics, and aeroponics. And all of the vegetables, or most all of the vegetables that we grow within our classroom are fed to our animals, and we have brought them over to culinary before as well. We will be learning about floral design, animal reproduction, and nutrition as well.
We also came here tonight to break the myth that this class is just petting animals and smelling flowers and playing with fish and like learning how to like make your own little tank, which I mean we are doing, but other than, well, we do pet animals and we do have fun, but it is also hard work. We also work very hard at what we do. Also, if you take it for 2 years, which most everyone does, you can also get college credit. We take a lot of notes. Every day is just constant notes, just always learning. And it's not a lot, it's enough, so we're having fun. And then we get to apply what we learn to the classroom, whether it be with the small animals or in the greenhouse or with the fish. And then we also have homework and assignments and projects that we're constantly doing just to keep us engaged and always making sure that we are learning and having fun with it too.
And because when you take it 2 years, you get college credit, you do get a bit extra work, but it's not too bad, and if you are willing to put in the extra time, you can get it done, and it's a lot of fun. I would definitely encourage all students to consider taking a program at SST. When you take a program at SST, you can decide to go into that particular field. You might just want to learn more about that field, or you can even use that field that you're learning about as a hobby. But students definitely need to want to come to class and want to learn, and above all else, have fun.
By taking this class, even though I've been in it only since September, I've grown a lot. I was able to join the leadership team that we have junior year, where we get to experience being in positions like the president, vice president, sentinel, and all that. So I have been able to learn how to run a meeting and do public speaking like we're doing now. I feel very comfortable, and I've also have grown some leadership skills as well. I'm able to step out of my comfort zone. This year, since I did take it my senior year, I'm trying to take advantage of everything that is handed to me. And by far, I have advanced so much in that, in stepping up and doing things that I wouldn't normally do or feel comfortable with. And I've also been able to advance my knowledge in the areas that I want to go into, like veterinary and dairy science and equine science. So yeah.
I too have definitely grown as a student. My confidence has definitely grown, and my public speaking skills have gotten a lot better. I'm being completely honest. If I did this my junior year, I probably would have been freaking out. I don't even think I would have done this my junior year, like spoken in front of all of you. But I absolutely love this program, and our advisor, our teacher, Ms. DeMarco, does a great job to push you to do like new things, get out of your comfort zone, and it definitely helps. And if you take animal and plant science, I would definitely advise all students to try new things, get out there, and do everything that Ms. DeMarco offers you. It's so much fun, and I don't regret taking it at all.
Lorelai and I here are we're only one example of what we can do with this class. Our goals are very similar to after we graduate. We want to go to UNH for animal science, bachelor's degree in animal science. We both are going towards veterinary school. So yeah, we'll both be doing the same things, taking our knowledge from this class and taking it on the next level to hopefully become a vet.
Yeah, and I even chose to be a part of this program because for most of my life I've always wanted to become a veterinarian, and this program has definitely given me a lot of skills I will use for the rest of my life, and it's really only solidified this kind of desire I have to become a veterinarian, and I know now that I definitely want to work with animals for the rest of my life. And with that, I want to thank all of you for taking the time to listen to us, and I hope you've enjoyed the photos. I also want to extend the invitation to you to come to our program at any time, but please be prepared for anything, because in our class, anything can and has happened, and I'm sure will continue to happen, because it's definitely a new experience every day, and working with animals comes with lots of different surprises. Are there any questions?
I actually had one. I know what traditional gardening is, soil-based gardening. I know what hydroponics is. I've never heard of aeroponics. Can you explain to me what that is?
So we haven't actually worked with it yet, but aeroponics is, we have these grow towers, and the plants are planted in the grow towers, and water is dripped down onto them. So I believe there's not much soil.
Oh, so they're not constantly submerged. They get the nutrition. Oh, neat. I've never heard of that. Thank you.
One of the things that we have missed in the last couple of years is having students come to our meetings. And I want to thank you guys for coming and making this presentation to us tonight. We make decisions a lot, and we haven't been able to see the wonderful things that mules are doing around the community, and you guys have come and shown us what that is, and I appreciate that very much. And I wish you both the best in your futures, and I know you'll be able to do anything you put your mind to.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good job.
You guys are going to make this old lady cry. Doesn't take much. Thank you, guys.
Good job, ladies.
Take care. All right. Those, we have not had one of those in a long time.
No.
Boy, that was wonderful.
And it really just, I'm so proud of our students.
I as a board member, I would say that representing our board at SST is really important. Our voice needs to be heard because we don't have a lot of people go there. I will say it's an amazing program. There isn't one program there that I don't think the kids can't learn at. I look forward to when it's open again so people can see it, because we haven't been able to go in.
That's true.
You've never been. And the culinary arts is amazing. The Miss Grollo, who does digital arts, she's amazing. There's Mr. Marco's
I didn't know the
amazing.
breadth of the agricultural program. Like, I really didn't.
I don't think people do.
And there's just so much going, and so many opportunities and
Yeah.
practical, real-world things where someone can get a job from something that they're doing. I mean, it's awesome.
Mrs. Russell, who used to be one of our teachers, runs the education program over there. And you actually, that's another program you leave with college credits to go into education.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
To really, there are some good things over there. Didn't they just do tours for the
They were
juniors?
supposed to have one tomorrow,
Okay.
and then it's been postponed.
Oh.
Well, it's been postponed until Monday.
All right, anyways.
Now, Lila,
Board
we
match.
have the benefit of having you with us every week with your fabulous reports, and I'm going to ask you for another one right now.
Of course. So the Newmarket Drama Club just announced the cast of their up-and-coming murder mystery titled Over My Dead Body. The role of Trevor Foyle will be played by Riley Nolan. Dora Winslow will be played by Sophia DePippo. Barty Cruikshanks will be played by Indigo Santana. Simon Vale will be played by Patrick Walsh. The Inspector will be played by Dylan Burns. Detective Trask will be played by Chloe Roberidge. Leo Sharp will be played by myself. Charters will be played by Alex Samuelson with the understudy of Dylan Cassidy. Our girls varsity team, basketball, they're absolutely killing it. They won 31-18 at Farmington yesterday. Their next game will be a home game at 3 o'clock on the 5th, again versus Farmington. The boys varsity basketball team is performing admirably. Their next game is a home game at 7 o'clock on the 7th against Concord Christian. And finally, our Interact Club and High School Democrat Club are holding a warm clothes drive until February 18th. Donation boxes are located in the English room. They're looking for like hats, gloves, coats, any warm clothes. Thank you.
Thank you, Willa. Susan, we'll move to you for your superintendent's report.
Okay, I just wanted to, in case you have not gotten the notification yet, tomorrow will be a remote learning day for students. So, if you haven't gotten that, you're listening tonight, just make sure that you go out tomorrow morning, that you're super careful because it's supposed to be icy and slushy and mixed weather. So they're hoping that people will kind of stay off the roads. And it's more than we're not comfortable with kids standing at bus stops waiting for the buses to arrive, coming on and off.
Right.
More than anything else. So that was it.
Okay. The next thing is the meeting schedule. I was looking at the schedule, and I noticed that the March 3rd meeting is during February vacation. So I knew that that might be challenging for some. And so I thought what we might want to do, and this is just a thought, we could sort of push the 17th meeting to the 24th and sort of split the difference and not have a 17th meeting and a 3rd meeting. I don't know how anyone feels about that, but that's...
Fine. I will not be able to attend the 24th.
Okay. Andrew, I don't know if you'll be able to attend.
Thumbs up if you can.
Tim, I need you.
I'm going to guess no, that he might not be able to.
Tim, can I get volume?
Andrew, can you give us a thumbs up or down?
Yeah, I can hear you.
He's good.
Is Dr. Givens aware of anything pressing needs to be coming up between now and then?
I can hear you.
Is there anything pressing coming up between now and then?
Not that I can think of. I certainly have a few items for the next meeting, but nothing that's urgent. And if we waited one more week, I would collect a few more. So I wouldn't want to go from the 16th, I think, is when it's scheduled, all the way until middle of May. That seems like an awful long time to not meet when we've got so much going on.
So are we agreeing to split the difference to the 24th, and those board members that can attend will attend?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So it'll be on the 24th, and the one on the 17th and the one on the 3rd will both be canceled. Andrew, we're at the policy section. Can you hear us? Can we hear you?
Are you able to hear me all right?
We can. It's perfect.
Awesome, very cool. And just for those people who are aware, the reason I'm doing this from home is that my other family members tested positive for COVID. Everyone's fine, but I just wanted to be respectful of the people there and be extra safe. So we met last week to discuss these 4 policies. All of them were looked at or initiated because of changes in the law from the last time the state met. They're pretty self-explanatory. All of them basically originate from the New Hampshire School Board Association, but have revisions that were recommended by the lawyer and or perhaps revised because of the concerns that people had on the policy committee. Instead of going through each one, is there any questions that people have over the 4?
It was light reading. Thanks, Andrew.
Oh.
Especially the grants one.
Yes.
Andrew, I don't see any questions.
Enjoy doing this, so thank you.
Thank you, Andrew. All right. Now we're to our action items. The first one is to approve the public and non-public meeting minutes for January 20th, 2022. I seek a motion to approve those.
So moved. Second.
We have a motion from Ms. McKinney and a second from Ms. Durant to approve those sets of minutes. Are there any amendments to them? Hearing none, we'll move to the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 We have a thumbs up from.
Andrew, was that an aye from you?
Yeah, thumbs up.
Okay, perfect. Unanimously approved. Gary, I think you win the manifest,
Did.
and I need to sign it.
You do. All right, I move we approve the manifest for February 3rd, 2022, totaling $530,673.41.
Second?
We have a motion for Mr. Swanson and a second for Ms. Durant to approve the manifest as read. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Approved unanimously. Susan, did you guys touch on this next thing?
I don't have any additional information to share.
Okay.
Other than what I put in the report. There's a family that has moved to Epping. They have a senior, a 7th grader. And so they petitioned Epping because they're a resident there, for hardship. And it requires both boards to approve.
Right.
Allowing the senior to complete her time, her senior year here. We've done that. We did that with Oyster River in the reverse earlier this year, and this student has spent her entire junior senior high school time here in Newmarket, has friends, and with COVID and all of that, it would be nice to have her stay with us. The younger one, of course, would transition and has transitioned to Epic, which is appropriate.
I seek a motion to approve this change of school assignment request.
So moved?
Second.
We have a motion from Ms. McKinney and a second from Mr. Swanson. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Approved unanimously. Susan, do you want to highlight some of the high-level things on the new, the modifications to the safety plan and the co-curricular protocols?
Yeah, so on both January the 6th and the 20th, we brought forward some recommendations to modify temporarily some of our protocols because of the high levels of COVID positivity we're experiencing in town and in our schools. And those actions to enhance those protocols have had a positive impact on the decline in COVID cases. So we're thrilled about that. So tonight, we're looking to have some of those measures that tighten up our protocols relaxed a little bit. And so at the elementary school, what that would mean is that we would return to having students eat lunch in the cafeteria. For athletics, that would mean that we would invite spectators, all spectators back in. We have had no problems with spectators wearing masks or presenting any challenges, and with the outbreak having resolved itself, we'd like to invite our community members and our students back to the games, especially as we get closer to the playoff season with our teams doing so well. So for all those worthy reasons, we would like to invite the spectators back. And then on mask wearing, what we're recommending is that mask wearing be optional for athletes when they're actively playing, not in practice or sitting on the bench or in buses or anything like that. Just when they're actively playing, to make that optional. That would only be optional if the hosting team allows for that. Some school districts are having masks be mandatory. But right now, masks are mandatory indoors in public buildings in town. So masks would remain a requirement for play at all times. So when and if the emergency order changes, if the COVID numbers remain the same, then we would just transition to optional masking while actively playing. So those are the three items we'd like to relax. We'll continue with the other protocols that we have. We feel like they're effective and serving us well. So we don't want to take everything away. We want to take this layer, see what happens. If all goes well, then maybe we can dial back some more.
Can we talk a little bit more about our athletes not having to wear masks when they are actively playing? what brought you to that?
That was the protocol in place prior to us tightening up. So that was in our original plan that was approved by the board.
Mm-hmm.
And some communities have remained that way. And it's not removing them, it's making it optional. So some, if athletes feel, comfortable, removing their mask while they're
So that would,
actively playing.
for away games.
For away games now, because in all of our public buildings in Newmarket, indoor mask wearing is required. So that would mean no matter what. So it doesn't matter whether it's athletics or U&I or drama club, anyone that enters into a public building right now, masks are required. So this would just be away games, and only if the hosting community, has a mask optional protocol in place.
So visiting teams who play in the Newmarket facility will be required to wear masks?
Yes. Yep. Until such time that circumstances change.
Do we think that, the numbers have been really, really great?
Yeah.
Do you think that maybe we could have a time that we might be able to get the athletes and, everyone, drama, swimming, basketball, cheerleading, that they would be able to actively play and perform without masks at some point?
I would love that. I think we're all.
I think
we'll
the
hope
problem
that
is that it's the town council emergency order
right
mandates
now.
that all public buildings, which applies to us. So the proposal says that once that's lifted, athletes and I assume actors and
Co-curricular.
other co-curriculars could be optional or would be
Okay.
optional.
I
Okay.
think it's specific to our co-curricular programs. If you remember, we had some certain, specific protocols for activities that occur indoors. And so whatever those protocols are going to be would play out. As Gary said, what's kind of circumventing our authority is a higher authority, which is the town administrator is also our director of emergency and safety planning, and he has implemented an emergency order that we need to comply with.
Okay.
So for right now, that's what it is. I suspect, things to remain, pretty low for now. I think when we come back from April vacation, I don't know that it'll be COVID, but I expect that we'll have more illness that presents itself because we always do. And then my hope is that the numbers go back down after the 2-week period that you usually see, and then the flu season kind of tapers off, the cold season tapers off, and hopefully at some point we'll be able to get those numbers to a point where we all feel comfortable having optional masks indoors.
We can open windows,
We
like
can
that's.
open windows, people can be outside more
Yeah.
frequently, and
So
it's been our hope all year, but, we can't make those decisions without knowing, what kind of circumstance we're faced with at this point. But I think the goal has always been transitioning back to as normal as we can, and we have in so many ways. I know it feels frustrating for all of us that we can't just go on about life without any mitigation measures. I think we all would love to do that. There's so many ways that we have been able to add programming and relax certain things that we weren't able to even last year. So I think my next goal that we'll be looking at is field trips. We were hoping that the second half of the year we could reintroduce field trips, and then the numbers were so high we couldn't even consider that. So our next step is to look at protocols for field trips. So you should be seeing that from me in the next couple of weeks, so that when the weather gets better, we can start doing a little bit more of those types of activities with kids.
So I guess there's 3 things now. So it occurs to me that we could petition the town emergency manager to waive schools from being included in that, I think. We could consider that, I don't know, I don't know if that's an option, but it's worth considering.
I think if he's declared an emergency, I don't know.
I don't
I can
either.
ask him
Yeah.
if he
I don't
consider
either.
that.
While they were in active play.
That's the way it has been in active play. Prior to
The
the
numbers.
huge surge.
Right,
Yeah.
right,
And then,
And the outbreak
right.
that we had.
Yeah.
so I'm kind of questioning so we're expecting in February, there's going to be an increase.
After
It-
February break.
After February break, thank you. So this does not include anything, any provision for changing masking policy then. Do you plan on coming back with a different proposal for post-February break? Or are you anticipating keeping this policy through?
Well, one of the things that will change, of course, is that the winter athletic season will be over. So it will kind of be a moot point as far as masking while athletes are playing, because then they'll transition to the spring sports, which are outdoors. So I don't anticipate that this will come into play. At least our protocols last year, when we went to the spring, went back to what we actually were loosened from what we had in the fall of the prior year.
That's a good point.
So, and when we're outdoors, we can unmask. So I would expect that not expect, the spring season will, revert back to those.
What about other
protocols associated with outdoor
co-curriculars?
sports.
What about other co-curriculars? Like, does drama go into the spring? I don't know.
We'll have to look at that. We'll just have to look.
I'm just looking at the calendar, and if we've
Yeah, I don't know
not
where we would
doing
do it.
our February 17th meeting, and now we're going to February 24th.
I wouldn't be making a recommendation prior to seeing what the numbers are, because I don't want to put restrictions in place that are unnecessary.
Yep.
So I would say we have a meeting when we return, just like we did this time, and if those numbers are high, then, and they're COVID related, right? And they're COVID related. They were COVID related.
And you guys could, if
So-
if it were necessary. There's the 10th is in there, and you guys can do a meeting with the new people from the 8th on the 10th.
That's true.
So there's time, if it's necessitated.
Good point.
So the masking, just because absences are high doesn't mean COVID is high.
Mhm.
So it's only if the COVID numbers are high.
Well, and now
that I would increase
there's
those.
testing. And now they have to test negative to come back into school.
Right, but they'll be allowed, moving forward, for them to return early if that's the case. So I feel like it's a lot of new territory for us with some of these new tools we have in our toolbox, and if we need to modify them, we will. I mean, the goal is to return to the most normalcy that we possibly can, while not taking undue risks that would cause us to have to shut down or dial things back in a way, so.
So
I
you
feel-
actually reminded me of another question. So now I have two more. One of them is Heather's fault. One of the meetings you weren't here for, we discussed field trips, and I thought at that time we were under the impression that, much like athletics, field trips should be allowed, but it was really a concern with busing or transportation.
No, there's actually quite a few. It's a different scenario. With athletics, athletics are regulated by NHIAA, and so, but field trips are not. So when you're going into another school, and field trips are typically not in schools, you are assured of certain safety measures being in place. Not true with field trips, right? So we need to come up with a protocol for, one, identifying what the safety requirements are going into that, and what kinds of actions do they take to ensure proper sanitation is occurring in between, so that we have those conversations before we stick students on a bus and take them someplace. So very different scenario than athletics would be. So what we were planning on doing, instead of doing all this isolation quarantine, coming up with a return to school early plan and all of that, was we were going to focus on field trips. But since that was completely out of the question for us to be able to do, we haven't done that, and that's our next step.
Gotcha. Okay. And then the last question Heather reminded me of, So when we voted on the 20th, we voted to allow students back in after, starting on February 1st, after 5 days. Was that retroactive to students?
It
So-
wasn't, it was for those whose date of onset occurred on, I think it's February the 1st. If that's the date of onset moving forward, then it's 5 days.
So if it was the 31st, you
Well,
potentially.
maybe it's the 31st, Monday.
No, but
Yeah.
if it happened the day before then, so you could be out for additional 4 days from someone who
It depends,
tested positive on the
because
next day.
Each scenario, it depends. So if, let's say, somebody tested positive on Sunday, and informed us on Monday, and their date of positivity was, it could have been Sunday, their date of onset could have been Saturday, their date of onset could have been Thursday. So it's not like when we learn that somebody's positive, that is the official date that the number starts. The clock starts ticking on the date of onset. So it's different for every single scenario. And so what we proposed and you approved was that for those whose date of onset occurred on that date, that from them forward, so it's date of onset, that's when the new protocol will come into place. If it was on Sunday, let's pretend that they were notified and the date of onset was on Friday, they would likely come back at the same time they otherwise would. So the nurses can't contact trace and backtrack and keep track of all that and all the paperwork that's associated with all of that, and do it retroactively. So that's why our school district and other school districts set the date certain so that we would, have clarity around that and we could plan accordingly.
I guess it wasn't clear to me that that's what the proposal was. And I guess I'm concerned because I realize it may be a little bit of extra work for the nurses. I think they're already tracking when someone's date of onset is because they'd have to be to know when 10 days is, as opposed to 5 days. But if we're talking about keeping kids out of in-school education for another 4 days because their date of onset happened to be the day before, or 2 days before, that concerns me.
At this point, it's Friday, so there wouldn't be anybody, I don't think, anybody that would be reported at this particular time, their date of onset would have been by the 31st, so I don't think we're talking. Yeah, there might, I don't know. I mean, the nurses keep track of this, I don't. I don't know, I can't.
Well, that's even more reason to do it, because if it's a small number to track, I'm really
I would not recommend anything without consulting the nurses who are tasked with doing the work. I would feel incredibly uncomfortable changing something when all of our systems, everything was set up with great thought and care to make sure that we would be able to do this in a way that all people could feel safe and comfortable.
So today is February 3rd. Tomorrow is February 4th, but it's a remote day. And then Saturday, Sunday, so anyone, I'm just talking it out,
Mhm.
anybody that tested positive on February 1st, their 5 days, they would come back to school Monday.
Depends on when the date of onset is. It's not simple.
No.
It just isn't, and that
but
is the
you
challenge.
really could have kids staying out an extra 3 days, 4 days, if they
They
happen to
might
be.
not. We might learn that somebody's positive and the date of onset was 5 days ago, so they could get tested tomorrow. Doesn't mean they're gonna be out another 5 days. You see what I'm saying?
I do, but right now we must be tracking their date of onset to know when 10 days is, right?
They have to identify the date of onset, and then they have to determine when folks are eligible to come back. And it's not just a day 5 thing, and I think, if we can walk back and understand, it's not just, it's day 5. If you don't feel well, if you have a fever, if your symptoms have not improved, it doesn't matter what day it is.
No,
It doesn't-
of
it
course.
doesn't matter what day it
So,
is.
so you're saying the nurses are proactively doing that on day 5 for people? Or people
They
can
set up,
petition?
so the way our plan is, they set up an appointment to be able to go through this return to school assessment. They get the COVID test. They get an assessment of their symptoms. They check and make sure that the mask is properly fitted and comfortable, so the student understands that they have to wear it at all times when in public. Sometimes the mask that they're wearing is not well-fitting.
No, I think I understand all the
of that
proposals of what we
takes
did.
place before the student returns.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
So maybe if the board is interested, and it doesn't seem like maybe many are, what we could do is approve a motion that modifies it contingent on the nurses being able to fulfill it retroactively.
And they've told me they can't. So
Well,
you can vote
okay,
on
you
that.
hadn't said that previously, so
And I think,
That's the reason why we're not doing it retroactively, because they said that it, you know, that.
okay.
it would
Sorry,
be-
I don't recall you saying that, but
Yeah.
if you did, then I
Okay.
apologize.
I mean, I think, the thing, we're past the February 1st deadline, and Gary, your point is well taken on the 31st. And I think that, the nurses are in communication with the families in terms of what the guidelines were until February 1st and what they are now. And I think that we should allow the system to work, not until it doesn't, because God forbid it doesn't.
No, I agree with you, but the problem is there's very real possibility there's kids who are going to be out longer.
Our goal is to
Mostly
get them
unnecessary.
in as soon as possible, and it's not just a day 5.
He's waving in the
Oh,
background. I think
Andrews
he might-
has a comment.
Yes, Andrew.
I'm sorry, are you guys able to hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
we can.
We've just been ignoring
Oh,
them.
so just for full transparency, the way I became aware of this issue was that it fell into issues with my children. Emerson's technically supposed to come back the first day that the 5-day people are. The person that was diagnosed on the 1st is going back. So she did 10 days and going back to San Diego the 5th. Finn is the one that he was been told 10 days, so he's going to be out an additional 4 days. That the person that's coming that was approved to go back on the 1st. So solely because of that 1 day, he has additional 4 days out compared to everyone else. Now, obviously, like as a parent, this bothers me, but as a board member, the bigger issue for me here is that we have said from the very beginning with our arguments for the safety is that we are following what the state is saying, what the CDC is saying. We are the last district that I know of on the seacoast that has not gone to 5 days. And we did this to put in this extra precautions because this is what we're comfortable with. And if we're arguing and denying kids going back to school because this is what we're comfortable with, as opposed to what the CDC or the state is saying, we've lost the ground that we have for the argument for the safety protocols that we're trying to put in place. So knowing that asking this to do retroactively is going to directly impact our family, I'm not comfortable asking for it, but I'm just saying that I became aware of this issue because of this. And I really feel like now that all the parents I've heard talking about that this is impacting their child's education, I'm now seeing it. And it's because that we're trying to put these extra safety measures in place because of what we're comfortable and not necessarily what the state or the CDC is saying.
What are
What are your
thoughts,
thoughts, board members?
Oh, I wouldn't do anything without a nurse here. I'm not comfortable with this conversation at all without having a nurse here. And she could answer Gary's questions better. Obviously, Andrew's experiencing it right now, but there are reasons we have done this. And I would love to hear from the nurse if we had questions.
The wording that was presented with us is that the wording is the implementation. And I took that as anyone that had done 5 days as quarantine up to that point was now eligible beginning February 1st. They could start coming back in. As of right now, we still don't have anyone that's come back into the building under the 5-day quarantine that's been recommended a month ago. So I agree with Elizabeth. I don't want to make anything about the nursing, but I do want to say that, I have all due respect for everything that everyone has done this past year. But if a teacher said, I'm not going to offer a child an education because it's not easy for me, that teacher would be talked to because it's an issue.
Doesn't seem like you're getting much traction here, so.
Oh yeah, no, and I wasn't. It was.
We
I
are.
wanted
What
to
kind
bring
of
it up.
traction are you looking for? Were you a statement that you made?
No, I wanted to bring up as a board member
no
that
traction to have.
we're losing the credibility here by, that there are 9 kids that on Monday the 31st will be out 4 additional days, and the person that was out the first.
But I have to say, Andrew, that you can't make that assumption, because not all the people on Monday had COVID onset symptoms as of that day. So that's just not true. Your situation is unique to you. There are other people who have unique situations that are different than yours.
And to answer your question, Elizabeth, I just would have liked to dialogue with the entire board. That's all.
I'm just wrapping my head around all this. Is my first hearing.
Oh,
this.
Andrew's trying to speak again. Sorry, Andrew, you were.
Oh no. Can I ask a quick question about the masking in? I was trying to ask earlier. I'm sorry. If there's an issue where a team refuses to wear masks in Newmarket, has the NHIA given guidance with what to do in that circumstances? If a school that's coming to Newmarket to compete refuses to wear masks, has the
Then we
association
schedule at a neutral location.
Okay. Thank you.
Any other
Questions or
questions or
thoughts about Andrew's point and Gary's point pertaining to the 5-day, 10 days?
I mean, it's important. I don't know how many kids fell into this crack of the February 1st. Any one kid that falls through the crack is bad. So, and again, this is the first time hearing it, so I'm kind of wrapping my head around it. You guys already talked about it. So if I'm hearing correctly, if a child, I'm just going to get my calendar because I'm visual. If a child had onset symptoms of COVID on, say, Sunday, January 30th, tested positive on Monday the 31st, under the previous guidelines, that child would have to quarantine for 10 days, going 7, so that would 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. That would bring to February 10th. But if they tested, if the onset symptoms came on the 30th, but they tested positive on the 1st of February, then they could schedule an assessment 5 days from that, being 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which would be Monday the 7th. And if they passed the assessment and tested negative, they could return to school on Tuesday, February 8th.
It would have to be onset, like the 31st with the onset versus, or the 30th with the onset versus the 1st with the onset. It's not the test positivity date, it's the symptom onset date.
You know, the problem being Monday was the 31st. So I know in a lot of heads, you're thinking the school week being, with February 1st being a Tuesday. If the onset symptoms started on the 31st, they would have to quarantine for the 10. If the symptoms started on February 1st, the next day, Tuesday, and took the test and was positive on the 1st, then they could have the opportunity to get tested on the 7th and return to class on the 8th, versus 24 hours before would not have the ability to get their assessment until the 10th.
Well, there is no assessment after 10 days, I don't think.
No, there'd be no assessment at that point.
So they wouldn't be subject to...
But they wouldn't be eligible to go back until...
They would not be subject to the reassessment and the negative test.
And there's also parents that don't want to do testing and they choose to have their kids stay out for the 10 days.
Okay.
There's all kinds of different scenarios.
Yeah.
by the nurses, and I'm not, you know, I know that they're living it, and I have to rely on them. I can just say this, none of us wants our kids out. None of us want any of this. And no matter when you put something into play, there's always going to be a brief transition period where somebody's not going to be, that maybe there is a crack, right, as
Yeah.
you transition. The problem is no matter what day you pick or what rules apply, there's going to be somebody that falls outside of that. And that's really just what the challenge is, you know. But I have to say, the nurses, nor I, nor anybody want any of this when we have worked our fannies off to provide in-school learning to everyone. And yeah, so we can, you know, you could have changed the date and said, you know, the date we're going to do this is this Friday or whatever day, and then the people that it doesn't apply to, then what is the system onset date, and how do you do that?
Right.
There's always
Yep,
going to
okay.
be the sifting and the sorting, you know, because you set it, you set a date, and it's not gonna work out well for a small, you know,
Yeah. Okay.
period of time as you do that. So system onset date, as of that date, was, and for all of those reasons that we've talked about. And perhaps you're right, Andrew, we're a little behind everybody else, but I can guarantee you no other school district is providing the level of service to the community that we plan on providing.
I apologize. I have one last question about the masking policy. I apologize. I just thought of it. So just for clarity, if our kids go to a neutral gym to play, they'd be able to be mask optional there as well, provided that school allowed.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
And it's only happened, we've only had one case of that.
Yeah.
And we played in Epping, was the neutral
Yes,
place.
yeah.
We played Royal,
Mount
Yeah,
Royal.
Mount
Mount Royal.
Yeah.
So that, but all the other teams were fine, and we played in whatever location was appropriate.
Yeah. No, I just wanted to make sure it was clear. Thank you.
Any other thoughts about this stuff? Before we adjourn, we have the deliberative session on this Saturday.
To vote on this?
Yes, Gary, thank you.
Sure.
Let me just say this one thing and then we'll get back to it. Thank you for reminding me. We have the first deliberative session this Saturday at 10 o'clock down here in the Town Hall Auditorium. Susan and I had a call earlier today with Chris Hawkins, just sort of mapping out the plan for the day. So I'm going to draft some notes. I've already started it and shoot it out to the board members. Yes,
It says 9.
it's 10. The town is at 9.
Yeah, thank you.
Also here, just so that, you know, for the new board members, you understand what it's like to be sitting here and what's sort of the flow of the day, like we did for the special business meeting. It's not going to be very long, but that'll go out tomorrow. And thank you, Gary, for reminding me. I seek a motion to approve the safety plan and co-curricular protocol modifications.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Mr. Swanson and a second from Ms. Durant to approve the safety plan and co-curricular protocol modifications. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Unanimously approved. I seek a motion at 6:11 to adjourn the meeting. We have a motion from Mr. Swanson. I need a second.
Second.
Second from Ms. Durant to adjourn the meeting at 6:11. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Unanimously approved. Meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Thank you.